Yeah, and some coffee.
Hello, so today I would like to share a few thoughts that have been helpful to me this week. One is about being stretched and about guitars. One is about heavy loads. One is about prayer. And one is about taking tiny steps. So the first one, I was reading a Keys for Kids story to my children at bedtime. They're really good devotional stories, and although they're written for kids, I find them really helpful for myself too. So I was reading one story and I was just looking through the pages and I just saw the end of one story and it kind of caught my eye because I could relate to it. So I read the whole story, and the context of the story is a boy whose dad has left. And so he's alone with his mum and he's talking to his friend and complaining about how he can only spend, I think it was every second weekend with his dad. And he was finding it hard, which of course you would. But he realised that his friend that he was talking to, he'd never heard him talk about his dad. And so he asked him about his dad, and the boy said that his dad had died. And so that first boy realised that his friend had it much worse than him, that his friend could never see his dad, and this boy still could. But anyway, so he was asking his friend whose dad had died how he coped with it. And this is what the boy said, and he used this illustration which I found helpful for myself. So this boy said, "It's not easy, but one day when I was trying to make a guitar with rubber bands in a long box, Mum helped me understand how she deals with it. Some rubber bands stretched and fit over my box easily, but others were tight and pulled out thin in order to get around the cardboard. A few even snapped," added Brad. He was silent for a moment, and Patrick thought Brad was remembering it. The bit that caught my attention was this: "The ones that fit super tight made the best music on my new guitar. And Mum said that as things happen in life, we are stretched too, like those small rubber bands," explained Brad. "We may be uncomfortable, but we can choose to be content and make music even during the hard times of our life. Or we can give up and snap and be useless. Mum and I decided to trust God to use this hard part of our life for His good." And then it has a little application. How about you? Have things happen in your life that are hard to accept? God wants you to be content in all circumstances. With God's help, decide that you'll accept what He has allowed so that even your attitude may be a testimony for Him. And then it has the verse Philippians 4:11 about, "I've learned in every state I am therewith to be content." And I've been finding it hard lately just with busyness. I'm very busy at school, and it's kind of extra busy when other people are sick just because school is short-staffed.
Mom, is this tent too big?
So I found that a really helpful thought because lately it's been extra busy for me, and I think being stretched can apply to many different things. Or busyness is one way you can feel stretched. You can feel stretched if you don't have enough money, like financially. It can be even just looking after your children, or it can be if you've got health problems. There are all sorts of ways to be stretched, so this can apply to you in whatever way you may be feeling stretched. So yeah, we need to learn to be content in whatever way we are being stretched, and to find what we can be thankful about. There's always lots of things to be thankful for, and to just accept whatever it is. For me, accepting the busyness. For you, it may be accepting whatever your situation is. This goes on to another thought. I read a poem, and it's a very long poem, but it's about heavy loads, and I'm just going to read two bits from the poem. So the poem is about somebody who's walking along, they're carrying a very heavy load, and they're thinking about how hard and how difficult it is. It says, "A still small voice distinctly said, 'Twas sent to lift you, not to crush. I saw at once my great mistake. My place was not beneath the load, but on the top. God meant it not that I should carry it. He sent it here to carry me. Full well He knew my incapacity." And then further on it says, "O paradox of heaven, The load we think will crush was sent to lift us up to God. Then, soul of mine, climb up, for naught can e'er be crushed save what is underneath the weight. How may we climb? By what ascent shall we surmount the carping cares of life? Within his word is found the key which opes his secret stairs. Alone with Christ, secluded there, we mount our loads and rest in him. And that goes on to my next thought. I've been thinking a lot about the verse, come to me, all ye that are labor and are heavy laden. And I don't know, it's something I just keep thinking of, that whenever we are feeling stressed or tired or we're finding anything difficult, is to take it to God in prayer. Often we try to figure it out ourselves, and we just need to remember to pray about it. And often God gives us good ideas, or he sorts it out in one way or another. And this verse I read in the Bible the other day kind of says the same thing. It says, seek the Lord and his strength. Seek his face continually. So it's something we need to keep reminding ourselves to do. Not just, once in the morning when we have our quiet time, but whenever we're feeling things are hard, or when we're needing wisdom for a decision, or whatever it is, to seek God's face continually, to come to him. That verse is from 1 Chronicles 16:11. And the fourth one is about taking tiny steps. I heard two different people say in the last week about taking tiny steps. One was a lady that I watched on YouTube, and she was talking about in your Christian life how you just need to take tiny steps towards where you are, trying to get to, or what you're in your Christian walk. And another lady I was talking to about Lydia and about her development said that we need to just keep taking tiny steps with her. And I found that a helpful thought, especially with the busyness. Sometimes you feel overwhelmed with things like even the garden or the house, or other projects that you're trying to do. That can seem like really big things, whereas if you just take tiny steps, like one step, like you climb a mountain only just one tiny step at a time. And if you just keep taking steps, like just doing something little, and then maybe the next day taking another step, doing something more, it eventually does get done. So that can apply to all different things, is to keep taking tiny steps. And a Christian movie that I watched this week, which I quite like, is called The Open Door, and I'll link it below, and I'll put it on my favourite movies list. But it is a story about a boy with autism, and his mother dies, and so his sister gets stuck caring for him. And it's just quite a neat story of how she has to accept that she has to look after him, and it's about accepting people who have different challenges or disabilities. But it's quite a nice movie.
Oh.